It's really, it's about, and you just touched on it there, it's about shifting data access for the few to data empowerment of the many. And I think that's a key
I love
that's
that.
also changing. Yeah.
Welcome everyone to the fourth episode of Data Enablers podcast series by Edgematics Group. My name is Sarit. I'm your host today. For the folks who are joining for the first time, what do we do in this podcast? We speak to industry veterans, practitioners, experts from the field of data and AI. We talk to them about their journey, their experience, their perspectives, their success stories, and also their battle scars. We have covered many topics so far in this podcast series. We have spoken about or discussed data strategies, data governance, and regulations. How do they impact data and AI? We talked about interesting areas like semantic engines. And to continue on the same note, today we are going to talk about how data products can be democratized. And to have a chat on this very interesting topic, I have got a very interesting guest, Glenda O'Keefe from Quest. Glenda, how are you doing? And a warm welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Sarit. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Very good, very good.
Good.
Glenda, I mean, before we even begin, why don't you give a quick introduction about yourself to the audience? And then let's see how we can take it from there.
Sure. So my name is Glenda O'Keefe. I am a field CTO for Quest Software. I'm here about a year now, and a lot of innovation happening at Quest across the board, from our marketing to opening a new center, AI architecture in Cork, Ireland. And prior to joining Quest, I worked at Informatica within the data management space as well. So I'm here altogether about over 20 years, not to reveal my age, Sarit, but in this space about 20 years.
That's very interesting. Glenda, why are you in this boring world of data? What has kept you in this space?
I will disagree. It's far from boring, Sarit.
I was just poking you.
No worries. It's. I think it is an amazing space that's ever evolving. If we look at even before the social media and mobile phones to where we are now in the last 15, 20 years, the rate of transformation on a personal level, but even on an enterprise organizational level, is amazing of what you can do with data, the insights, the innovation. It's amazing. And I actually ended up in this space by accident. I changed my studies from arts to IT, and I haven't looked back. And it's been an amazing journey to date, because technology plays such an important role in our lives and in the world we operate.
I knew there is something. No, that's great, Glenda. I know that we do not have the entire evening to ourselves. I wish we had. So let's get into this topic that we have for today. Glenda, there is so much that is being talked about data products, right? I mean, that's probably going to be that's a new coin in this entire data game. That how products can be monetized, how products can be exchanged, used. But as a practitioner, as somebody who has been in this space for a very, very long time, where exactly do you see this data products and its evolution today? Has it got into a matured stage? Is there a lot that still needs to be done, or are these very early days? What's your take?
So that's an excellent question. And I love the topic of data products. So if you look at the traditional way of creating a data product, it was painful, a lot of work, and still does go into creating a data product. Oftentimes, the old traditional way is, multiple teams working in silos. There was a lot of bottlenecks. There's the teams that were managing those data products was often the technical, the back end teams, and not even taken into consideration from the business side, and even trying to match business and the technical to bring them two together to be measurable, to be reusable, is a journey in itself. And going to your point, the transformation that data products have gone through, especially with the help of platforms, software platforms, has helped increase data maturity through the use of AI and to operationalize those data products. So we're definitely seeing a change in and how data products are being used and developed much more faster than the traditional way.
Right, right. Yes, from my perspective, just to add to what you just said, Glenda, I definitely believe that I think now the concept is being understood, what it can do for a person or a consumer is getting realized. People are now looking for something that can be product, which means that it comes with a guarantee, it comes with a certificate, it comes with an assurance, something it's usable. But also at the same time, Glenda, I personally feel that there are still a few more steps to be taken, which in the sense that how do you now make that journey of delivering a data product or creating that data product easier, faster? I think that's one boundary or that's one hurdle that still needs to be crossed to make it more ready for adoption. That would be my submission to what you just said, Glenda.
I agree with you. And I think when looking at the business side, it's no longer how many data products can we create. It's now about, what business decisions we are trying to improve. How do we operationalize that data to enable those decisions?
Absolutely.
So absolutely, it's a new way of working.
And then I know, Glenda, that you guys are doing a lot in this area from a Quest perspective. And you being the field CTO, there's a lot of such conversations you must be a part of, and how you are influencing the way the products are getting shaped up within Quest. Why don't you share a bit about that? What is it that you guys are doing to make this data products work for both from a producer perspective and a consumer perspective? And maybe I'm going to just have addition to that same question, that how do you see AI playing a role in this entire thing?
So when speaking to many customers, data leaders, they, first of all, they all have a different definition of what a data product is. Mm-hmm. So you have the technical and then you have the business, but trying to enable that and come to a common definition is one that we help organizations on. And then, of course, it's all about it's ownership. So who's going to own the data product? It's about the life cycle of that data product, how it's going to be managed. And when we say manage that data product, it's about, is it being curated? Has it a good, solid foundation? Has it gone through data quality? And even when you go through that governance process, it's the adoption of that data product. So how do you reuse it? Because the more you reuse a data product or even any data asset, the more valuable it becomes, because you don't want to have to start over from scratch every time. Sure. So when relating that to Quest and how our approach is leading the change in this space, we looked at all of these factors based on our customer feedback. And we say, well, how do we remove those barriers? And at the same time, how can we help create those data products with speed? So we look into, first of all, a platform play. So you're looking at that end-to-end data management. So that it's like almost like an assembly line. You start with your raw data. It goes through that curation process. You want to be able to democratize that, publish it into a marketplace as an easy place for your users, both business and technical, to access that of those data products, to be able to reuse, reshare those data products. And this is done through a marketplace. So with Quest, we bookend that. We went and started from the data modeling foundation right up through that governance into the shop, share, and compare for those data products. So making it easier, making it faster to help operationalize and the reuse of those data products.
That's very, very interesting. And that's probably what I was also trying to allude to by when I said democratizing, right? That if it is something very difficult to create, very difficult to get hold of, people will never adopt it. And you will have a fantastic product lying somewhere in the shelf, which people struggle to get hold of. And it starts becoming a dead asset. But if it is easier for people to grab it, consume it, as you rightly said, that more and more people using it is only going to increase its value over a period of time, right? And there will be more and more people getting onto the bandwagon of using data products. Not only that specific data product, but more new things coming up, and encourage others to also use them. I think that's the journey that is much needed. That is what is going to democratize data products across the organization. And then why organization, right? So data products are sometimes also meant to be used across organizations. So you might create something which will be used by a partner of yours, or even you go and sell it. So there can be many such scenarios. But yeah, I mean, very, very interesting perspective.
And I just want to add, it's
Yeah.
really, it's about, and you just touched on it there, it's about shifting data access for the few to data empowerment of the many. And I think that's a key thing that's also changing. Yeah,
I love that. I love what you just said. But I still go back to the last bit of my question, Glenda. Where is AI in all this? Do you see AI playing a role? And if yes, what are the areas where you believe that in order to make data products work, here are some of the areas where AI plays a very significant role? And maybe share your examples, your things that you are doing probably within Quest, that this is the way where we are applying AI to make data products work better.
Yes, so I believe AI is going to be reducing the technical barrier. So in one example, and what I mean by that is with our automated data product factory, creating those data products, it allows you to have that natural conversation with the data. So that alone is very transformative. It's lowering that skill barrier. So no longer are we constantly relying on the technical teams, the dev teams, the engineering teams. Now the business side folks are able to come in and have that conversation based on a use case, based on a business outcome that they're trying to achieve. So AI is helping transform that approach, a new way of working with the data. Executives in there wanting to be able to have real-time insights, create those building blocks to continually develop and reuse those data products for expansion and growth and transformation. So definitely AI. Another way that AI is doing it is another way that AI is supporting this transformation is also to detect patterns, to detect data drift. So when you're looking at curating those assets, ensuring that you're working with the best, cleansed, of good quality, of good standing data. AI is helping you with that. If you're talking about data drift, any anomalies. So it's about taking a proactive approach rather than reactive. And this is where AI is also helping you with that. And also data quality. So when you're trying to understand what data quality, what good looks like, you have metrics that AI will help you define and detect and recommend data quality rules to help with the curation of that data as well.
Well, that's very encouraging because, I agree that some of the things that you just said, right? Data drift. Without AI, it would have been a very, very difficult thing to figure that out, that where exactly the drift is happening, when that drift is happening, how is that drift going to impact the behavior of that product? Will it going to pose a completely different kind of a behavior to a different set of people or to a same person over a period of time? And would that confuse that person? So, yes, technically these are very difficult. I would say more than difficult. It needs a lot of hard work to achieve that. And some of those things probably where as you rightly said, AI can play a very significant role in doing that. And on that note, just now that you are saying that some of these things probably are going to be very disruptive in the way people look at data products, right? I would also imagine, Glenda, and then again, I'm saying this from some of the projects that I have worked on, some of the customers where they have implemented data product. And they started probably 2-3 years back when the AI advent has definitely happened, but people were not using really AI in the area of data product. But if there is a new order of doing things using AI, what's your take that would people find it really difficult to migrate from the way they were dealing with data products to this new order? Will it be a very difficult journey? Or are you going to say that, listen, that's old school. You have to throw it away. You have to start thinking about this. Or would you say that there is a way to coexist? There's a way to gradually transition without creating a huge amount of disruptions. I know I asked a very long question, but would love to hear your thoughts on that.
It's got me thinking because all change is difficult. And, depending on, it doesn't matter what organization you're in, industry, all change is difficult. And change is difficult because it's challenging the old way of working. And to be able to bring everyone together, identify those champions, it's not easy. However, in saying that, change is necessary. And if you look at, particular organizations or even products that did not keep up with change, thinking of the BlackBerry, there was a new Netflix movie released I watched, and the BlackBerry was the number one mobile phone on the market. And then along came Apple. And Apple had this touch interface and slick device where BlackBerry sort of dismissed some of those characteristics. And it ended up being detrimental to the success of BlackBerry. So when we talk about the adoption of the new way forward, so if you look at AI in terms of the governance, say around your catalog, for example, and taking, when we say an agentic AI approach, it's about self-learning. So which the value is, it's going to help me do my job. It's going to automate those mundane tasks where I can focus on, and analyzing that data. And one particular customer I've worked with recently is that they were spending 80% of their time finding the data, prepping the data, trying to understand the data, and only 20% actually getting results from that. So I think when you measure change in terms of value and outcomes, I think it's part of the process,
Right.
but a change management plan is also quite necessary. But I think the value is there, but it has to be articulated correctly.
Right. And I think once people start seeing what AI can actually do for them, and where they would probably fail if they do not adopt the new order of the day, people will start realizing that, as you rightly said, that this is a change, that it's something that is already written on the wall. So there is no other option but to adopt that change and then implement it, not just elsewhere, but also on the way data products are being, as you said, that even the conceptualization of it. How can you build a data product like that? A lot of people would have struggled to even imagine that a data product can be built quite easily. But with AI or with some of the things that can be augmented with AI, well, I would also like to be careful, because we should not be giving that impression to our listeners that AI can do a complete magic and it'll create everything on its own. But the augmentation of AI can definitely aid in doing some of these complicated tasks faster and then better. There's very one interesting term that you said. I took a note of it in your previous question: automated data factory. Would you like to decode that for us, please? What would that mean?
Yes, so this is a brand new offering we released just, I think, a few weeks ago, where this particular feature is part of the Quest Trusted Data Management Platform. Mm-hmm. And the Data Product Factory allows non-technical users to create data products at speed. And I don't want to oversimplify that, but that's the aim. So our tagline is to create data products from months to minutes. And how do we do that is with the infusion of AI. So it scans your existing data estate. Now, this is quite important because remember at the beginning of the conversation, we referenced that reusability is so important in terms of getting value out of that data. Also, what this particular feature can do is to have that natural conversation with the data. So I can go in as a data analyst, type in a particular business outcome that I want, and based on that logic, automated data product factory will scan that estate and produce me a model within minutes based on the requirements I typed into that chat prompt. So it's helping you create those data products with much more speed. And you know that the output is as a result of those curated data products, those data assets as well.
That kind of almost like summarizes everything that we were talking about. So that's basically the means to get to that end, or a framework, I would believe, which you guys probably have now put in place, definitely propelled with AI, which can, as we are all discussing, that entire journey, that how do you conceptualize, how do you create sample data to test. Again, as you said, that some of these things might sound very simple, but how do you create a set of sample data for your testing without even putting anything on any kind of a production system or asking people for data, which is not something very easy for people to share. But AI can probably do some of these things. And that is what gives you that agility, that speed of building a data product and saying that, hey, listen, I've not only just conceptualized, I've built a wireframe, I've created some sample data, I've thrown the data at my product to see what it generates out of it. And I know this is how it's going to look like. It's far, far more real. And you, as a producer, probably will be far more confident that you have created a good data product, which your consumer can actually start using. Very, very interesting.
And you just mentioned we have a feature, synthetic data, where you can test out the expected insights or outcomes that you expect from a particular data product. And I just want to add that not to simplify it to an extent where you can just go in and have that conversation. Of course, there needs to be a moderate to a mature level of governance in place. However, we help get you there through that process, through that converged platform approach that I mentioned earlier, and it helps you mature much faster, but also opening up from the few to the many as well to help with that operationalize that governance, those governance frameworks to get to that value much faster.
So Glenda, I mean, even before we realized, we have almost reached we have been speaking about 25 minutes, and I know that
where did the time go?
Where did the time go? And I'm sure that we all agree that we have probably not even scratched the surface.
Never scratched the surface. Yeah.
But yes, as I said, that this is a age of instant noodles. If we keep having this conversation for a very longer time, people will find it difficult to digest it. So we'll probably keep a lot of these things for another round of chat, where we can pick one small area within this and then really expand on it. But before we start thinking about how we close it, there's one thing that I would always like to ask every guest. Glenda, you have been in this industry for such a long time. You have seen the evolution. You have seen the databases, data warehouses, the lake houses, now the data mesh, the data products, AI. If there is a young person who's interested in building a career in data, comes to you and asks for your suggestion, what would be that one piece of advice that you would like to give them?
I would say every day should be a school day. Keep on top of the latest trends, the latest technology. And then even to add an extra layer would be to have a mentor, someone to guide you, to learn from, even actually multiple mentors, to learn from the direction or the area that you want to deep dive on. So that would be my advice.
That's super. And that mentor piece, I think, is very key. Sometimes there are a lot of very smart people around, but they would look for guidance. And it is important that somebody puts up their hand and says that, hey, come on board. Let me share part of my experience with you guys. And that helps clear a lot of doubts, and they can probably move fast. So yeah, absolutely. I love what you just said, that staying hungry in terms of gathering knowledge, knowing more, but at the same time ensuring that you are getting guided properly along the way, so that you do not move in a wrong direction. So I mean, Glenda, I can't thank you enough for this chat. It was absolutely lovely talking to you, and I know that 30 minutes is probably too less for a conversation on a topic like this, especially between two people who love their data. And we will find out another opportunity to have another round of conversation, and not why another, maybe a few more. But for today, we probably have to draw the curtains.
Perhaps in the pub, Sarit. Perhaps in Ireland, in a pub setting. How's that?
We will do that, yeah. And we will get a few more people who are not from that field and try to convert them into data practitioners.
Right, I like it. A challenge accepted.
Absolutely. To the folks who have been watching this, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. There's a lot of lovely things that I learned from this conversation with Glenda. And I will definitely look forward to similar conversations with Glenda and similar kind of practitioners who are in this industry. And if you are interested in listening to such conversations, please follow us, subscribe to our channels on Spotify and YouTube. And I will see you on another episode of Data Enablers. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.